Hi, I'm Jeff with Kasteel Property Management, and today we are with a real estate power team, mother and son power team with RealtyPath, Tracy and Greg Padgett. So you guys are awesome. We hear so many good things about you guys, and even the clients that you've referred to us for their property management needs are fiercely loyal to you. So that's awesome. We love that, and it speaks volumes about you guys. So, and we follow you on social media, and we see the things that people say about you, and we've heard some of our networking meetings, some of the testimonials that you've read. You can just tell that you guys know what you're doing. You're some of the good ones. So it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming and meeting with us to do this quick interview so we can learn a little bit more about you. Tell me about yourselves. Why are you in real estate? How long have you been doing it?
So I started in real estate. My husband passed away 25 years ago, yesterday. And I had 3 kids, moved back to Utah, got my degree at BYU, and then decided that I couldn't support my family working for the city in the planning department, so I got my real estate. So that was in 2002. And so I've been a pretty seasoned real estate agent working in Utah County, Salt Lake. Also, we work up in Summit and even St. George areas. So wherever someone needs us, we go. And I work with RealtyPath, and we have an office in Provo, in Linden, and also in Sandy. And I have loved helping people find their house. I know it's the biggest investment that people make, and there's not a lot of times that you can really screen someone. And so I recommend to everybody, screen your agent. Make sure that they have experience, that you feel comfortable with them, and they're going to represent your best interest at heart.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that comment. Many years ago, I used to be a loan officer, and doing those transactions with, there's always a different realtor involved with the loans that would come in, and there's a difference. There's a big difference when somebody has experience and when they love their work as a realtor, and versus those that don't. Maybe they just kind of do it on the side, or they're just trying to make a buck, and there's a big difference. So Greg, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I've had my license for about 6 years now. Like my mom said, I watched her, raise us and support our family by being a real estate agent. I was doing some various different W-2 jobs in software and some insurance restoration. And I was done with, being a W-2 employee and kind of working someone else's business. And I wanted to play a more active role in kind of the outcome and the success of the things I was involved in. So I knew I needed to go kind of do something kind of self-employed, and it was a perfect segue into real estate when that kind of decision came up. My mom, it was right at 2020, right during COVID, and we had one of the busiest seasons we've ever had, and so it really worked out perfect being able to come in and kind of assist her with all her clients. And
now, having been in the industry for so long, you've seen a lot of different markets and changing markets in the real estate world. How would you describe the current market? What are we kind of seeing that's happening in the current market, and maybe what can we anticipate that's coming if you can pull out a crystal ball a little bit?
So what we've had happen is when interest rates were down to 2% and 3%, it was just booming. It was on fire. And then when the rates went up several years ago, we went up into the 7s and 6s, everybody kind of pulled back. And all of a sudden, it became more of a buyer's market instead of a seller's market. So right now, we've got the lowest rates right now than we've had in 3 years. So now we've got a little bit more interest in the buyers being willing to maybe step out of their 2% and 3% interest rates to get the house that they want. So it's kind of an exciting time. It's fun to see a reemergence of the buyers coming back. Sellers are starting to take a little bit of hit on their property. They're wanting that high appreciation, and they're realizing that it's a little bit more competitive. We're seeing more closing costs paid by the seller.
Yeah, I think like Tracy was saying, we're in a unique situation kind of coming out of COVID where everyone, especially those that got in early, they're sitting on a ton of equity right now. However, prices have continued to rise over the last couple of years. And so we have a unique situation in Utah where people have a ton of equity, but they may not be able to afford the new payment if they go and sell and buy a new house. It's good because we have homeowners that have equity, have, things that they work towards. But even with the rates coming down, it seems like buyers and those looking to transition to their next home are still like a little standoffish, just because we had those couple years during 2021 when rates were so low.
Yeah.
But I think this next summer it's really going to pick up as people start to realize, okay, rates are generally pretty good right now. They're not going to come back down any lower, and it's time to start making moves again.
Yeah, and I remember I've heard so many people say, well, I want to buy a house or buy a new house, and I'm waiting until the rates come down. I would try and tell as many people as I could. I'm like, don't wait, because you can always refinance like that. If you think the rates are going to come down, you can still take advantage of that, but buy your house now and refinance later. But when you wait until rates come down and then everybody's rushing to buy a house, that's going to work against you. But if you already have the house, you're comfortable, you just need to refinance it and your payment will come down. And all that time, you've also been getting that appreciation on the house that you would have otherwise not been getting. Yeah. And so, I'm like, if everybody's not out there buying, that's maybe a good time to go buy.
Another thing that comes to mind about kind of the current climate and the current market is it's time to get creative.
Yeah.
These are the situations where you have to kind of look beyond just traditionally selling your house, buying the next one. For instance, I was talking with a buyer earlier this morning about how he was thinking about keeping his current home, getting a home equity line, and then renting it out. And that kind of able to keep his get his low interest rate, but without having to lose all his equity in his house. And I actually brought up Kasteel today as we were talking about different property management companies and how because a lot of homeowners, they're resistant to maybe considering renting out their house. They see that it's like a really big time constraint on them. But I've been able to show them with a great property manager like yourself, like the numbers actually really do make sense, and it can be a lot less headache than they think.
Yeah, I agree. Something I always tell people is, a lot of people, they're always trying, when they're working towards retirement, they anticipate their house being paid off at that time and how much easier retirement will be because your house is paid off, which is all true. But what if you had 2 houses paid off, or 3 or more, and just how much better will retirement be? And there is that headache. There's a lot of fear that comes with it. And a lot of that is just education. A little bit of understanding of expectations and what you're getting into, and then having proper management. So I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing us up, and we're always happy to just help people, talk to them, help them just make a decision. Is this something you really want to do? Is this something you don't want to do? Let me just give you some information, and we'll help you with that kind of decision-making process.
And as the baby boomers, continue to age, a lot of them don't want that big 300, 400, 5,000 square foot home. They want to downsize. Mm-hmm. And so we've been working a lot with the seniors to kind of educate them on, do you want to go live in assisted living, or do you want to find something that's smaller that you can manage and still have the things you want in a home? Yeah,
it's through those different stages of life, you got to figure out. My wife and I were kind of having the same conversation. We're like, what are we going to do when we don't need this many rooms? And it's a thought process. And all those homes, they can either sell, they can either rent, whether they're big, they're little, they all sell, they all rent. Yep. It's just a matter of what you want to do. And as you've been doing real estate over all the years that you've been doing it, and you've worked, some of your clients have been investors buying rental properties and things. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen a lot of the investors have had, or some of their biggest fears in picking up rental proproperties? So we do work with a couple of types of different investors. Some of them are flips. And when you go to flip a home, there's a lot of different factors that we want to take it, into consideration when we sit down and meet with them, because it's got to make sense. And the ones that are flips, a long time ago were the foreclosures and the short sales. We're not seeing those as much. So we, as a real estate team, really make sure that when we go and show investors properties, we look for all the hidden costs, such as the age of the roof. Does it need a new furnace, a new air conditioner? Those are some major factors, because the easy things is to go paint and carpet, throw on some new handles,
new light fixtures. But when you start to get into plumbing and some of the bigger renovations.
Things that you don't see so much by just walking through the home that are of big price tags.
Yeah, I think generally right now, and compared to the past, when talking about investors and real estate, money's tight. You know, the funding sources, there's not less funds, but they're definitely a little bit more scrutinous in where they give those funds out to. In the past, where you've been able to maybe have kind of a bigger, looser goal on how much ROI you're looking for on an investment property, now they have certain targets they need to meet. Because we don't have that variability as much on the ROI, it just makes the selection and the offer buying process just that much more important. We need to make sure that the numbers are good for the buyer and of course the seller before we go in and make an offer. And so, like Tracy was saying, just taking the time to think through all the ins and outs, crunch the numbers, look at not just the cash flow, but the other secondary benefits such as tax write-offs and interest write-offs. Just looking through all the numbers and then putting together a good proposal so that we feel confident moving forward with a deal.
You want to make sure you know what you're getting into before you're into it.
Another thing that we're seeing a lot is people that want to buy a house and they want to rent their basement.
Yeah.
And that's from young, middle-aged families to older couples. They want to have that income and be able to stay in a home. So we've helped a lot of people go in and look at a property and kind of show them how they could change some plumbing to get a washer dryer, a kitchen downstairs, and do an outside entrance. And that's been awesome.
Yeah.
For people to get into.
Again, my wife and I story, our house, we're looking at the same thing. We're like, before we sell it, at some point, we want to put an ADU basement apartment in it because it wouldn't take a whole lot to do it. And I think it'll add a lot of usefulness and value to the home for potential buyers. Because so sometimes the older people want to have, sometimes their adult kids move back in, sometimes younger people are thinking that they can't afford the house that they want unless they have a renter in the basement. And so it reaches across many generations as far as usefulness. So that's a neat trend that we're seeing happening in the market. And I've seen some of the cities are even looking at their zoning laws and trying to adapt to that to be more helpful and more accommodating for those kind of needs. So that's been a neat change to see. It's fun seeing markets change. What used to be isn't, and what and see different things that are coming. So
we had two sisters actually that lived in California that had some 1031 money. And so I had shopped with them on some of the condos down in Santa Quin, and we took them to several of the ones that they thought would work, but they were under a different property manager, not yours.
Thank you for clarifying.
The rules of this condo association had no pets, and every one of those ones that we went into and showed had pets, and they had. They were filthy. They weren't screened. Some of them had more than one family. There were some of them that had 4 people inside. And it turned them off totally from wanting to buy in this complex. And then I was able to find some brand new ones in the complex that they went. And I said, if you really want a good property manager, talk to Kasteel Property Management, because they go in and they screen their clients very, very strongly. And what are some of the other things that you've done for them? Yeah,
I appreciate that. They're fantastic people to work with, and those are great properties to manage. And so it's really worked out well. And I remember when I was initially talking to them, their big concern was screening. They're like, we don't want bad tenants, and we don't want the places to get trashed. And so I had to help them understand what we do for that. And of course, there's always some risk, right? But through proper management, proper screening, extra tools and resources that we have, we're able to greatly, significantly reduce those risks. Is there anything else that you might want to say to your potential future clients or your existing clients that might watch this video?
Well, we are so grateful for the people that refer us, and so that has been our greatest compliment, is that they refer other people to their family and friends. I would say the biggest thing I would like is for some people feel like they have to save up 20% down. or they have to get their credit score up to 750. I would say if you know people that are looking, let's start early. You know, we've worked with people sometimes for a year and a half, 2 years. We're still here working with you with smiles on our faces. But it's an education. And so working with a good lender, and then finding out what you're comfortable payment-wise. And then a lot of people come and they don't know. Do they want to be in Santaquin? Do they want to be in Lehigh? So sometimes it takes us a long time just to take the steps to help them find the right house and go look at the house. And then the other thing we do once they find a house is we go and do a comparative market analysis to say, this is what it's listed at, but this is what the comparables are showing that it probably should sell at. And so we help them get a good deal because it is one of the biggest financial decisions that they'll make.
Yeah.
So we love to get started early, you know, whether they're thinking to sell down the road, you know, people with existing homes or just starting out.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. The joy that people have when they buy a new home, you just see that their face light up and they're like, this, you know, they're planning where each one of the kids are going to be. Anyway, it's a fun process. Well, how do people find you?
You can call me direct. My number is 801-875-7273.
And my number is 801-687-2127 with RealtyPath. We have a website, movetoutah.org.
And please check out our website, KasteelProperty.com. We have many other useful videos for investors in all stages, whether you're an existing investor or maybe considering it. And give us a call. Fill out our forms on our websites, call us, we can help you out for sure. So at Kasteel Property Management, we do more than just watch your rental property. We protect it, cultivate it, and help your investment grow.